Mike Bloomberg blaming pretty much everyone else in the Democratic primary system right now but himself for the state of where things are going. And it could explain why he wants to jump in as a candidate. He's already spending $100 million on anti-Trump campaign ads to sort of grease the skids, or maybe just leave it at that. To the Daily Caller News Foundation's Chris Bedford. Chris, what do you think?
$100 million is a lot of money. It's a real lot of money, and he's absolutely got it to spend. But I'm not exactly sure what constituency he's going to try and reach if he wants to run. His plan right now is to sit out the first 4 primary states, which is at least an unorthodox plan, and then to come in some of the more rural states in California, come in for Super Tuesday. The problem for Michael Bloomberg running the Democratic primary is, well, he is pro-immigration. He's also pro-stop and frisk, pro-Iraq war, pro-surveillance, anti-teachers union, and a billionaire at a time when populist rage is at a peak. And while people like Donald Trump, who want to take the furniture in the mansion and throw it out the window, they can appeal to people in a populist time, the guy in the mansion has a more difficult time doing that.
But you think about it, a lot of those views and assets of Michael Bloomberg might do well in a general election, but he'd have a tough time getting it through his party, right?
He'd have a tough time getting it through his party, and he'd have a tough time in rural and industrial states. $100 million on a campaign ad is one thing, but just in June, a few months ago, he pledged $500 million to shut down coal plants all over the country and end coal and hit some of the poorest places in the entire country. So at a time when the Democrats have really lost the white working class, he certainly would not be able to win them back. And I think that would strengthen Donald Trump's hand on that. Well, he might have a mastery of the suburbs.
You know, they're all expressing that is the people like Bloomberg and maybe why Deval Patrick sort of dove in the race about the direction the party's going. Not a big fan, neither of those gentlemen, what Elizabeth Warren is painting for the Democrats, that if she were the nominee, that the party would be grabbing defeat from otherwise the jaws of victory. Do you agree with that?
I think that Elizabeth Warren is actually a worse candidate than Hillary Clinton was. I have a specific view on this, maybe because I grew up in Massachusetts, so I've been watching her for a long time. But just today, her new wealth tax plan that she came out with, that the Wall Street Journal said could lead to people being taxed over 100% in the United States, some of the richest. There's no question to Americans.
I'm not sure how they came to that calculation. I actually had to read it a couple of times, but they on the compounding nature of it, right?
Yeah, I was reading it a couple times myself, and if I was a genius at math, I wouldn't be a reporter. But I do have some good comprehension on that. Elizabeth Warren's class war rhetoric is not actually seemingly exciting the left as much as some of Bernie Sanders is, the hard left, who still think that she's a bit of a poser. And it's certainly alienating a lot of the Democratic donors and the people who say Americans think that there is a problem here and that there is a disparity here. But Americans are not an envious people who want to take from those who are successful. It goes very much against the grain of our country, and I don't think it'll resonate with the voters.
You know, what do you think of the markets ignoring all the impeachment stuff, ignoring even today the Roger Stone news? What do you make of that?
I think it's all the cake is baked. They're watching the impeachment news today. It's so difficult for everyone because everyone knows the Democrats are going to vote to impeach him. Republicans are going to vote against it, and it's not going to get through the Senate. So this is the absolute of Washington theater, and it's actually really refreshing to see New York and Chicago figure out that Washington theater doesn't always affect them as much as it should, and there's no reason to panic.
That's a very good read on it, Chris. Thank you very much.